Hey guys, welcome back. Today I have another review video for you, and that is of a new app/service I've been using called MealPal. MealPal is a new startup that is available in a handful of major cities throughout the United States that basically allows you to pre-purchase your lunches for the month ahead of time, and you can basically get a discounted rate on your lunch. So it's really geared towards sort of city center areas where a lot of people are going to be working, and there's going to be a lot of professionals and people who are going and eating lunch during the day, going out to eat to get lunch. And basically how it works is you can choose either 6, 12, or 20 lunches, I believe, for the month. It's only available Monday through Friday. You cannot get lunches on the weekends. And essentially how it works is the night before the lunch at 5 p.m., the lunch menu opens up. You see all the options that are available to you for the next day's lunch. And then you pick the lunch you want, you select the time frame, you get a 15-minute window time frame that you select that you want to pick up your lunch, and then at 9:30 a.m. The day of lunch, it closes and you can no longer choose or change your lunch selection. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about my experience with MealPal, the pros, the cons that I've experienced, and just kind of give you my final recommendation of if I think MealPal is worth it and who I think MealPal would be better or worse suited for. So yeah, let's get right into it. So to start, I've been using MealPal for a little over a month. I just started on my second month. And so while I don't have a ton of experience with it so far, I do feel like I have enough to kind of know what really the pros and cons are of the service. So let's start with what I really like about MealPal. So the number one pro has to be the price. I mean, that is really the only, I would say that is the major benefit that is really unique to MealPal. So I have I have the 12 meal package. So basically that means I have 12 lunches that I can use throughout the month. For me, it's around $7 a lunch. It kind of gets cheaper as you get more meals. I think it's closer to $5 or $6 if you have the 20 meals. It may also vary by city. So I don't want to quote too many specific numbers on that, but the gist of it is you're going to be getting a discount on the meals in pretty much all cases. So for example, one place that I like to go is I Dream of Falafel. One of their meals that they have on MealPal is their vegan dream plate that's normally like over $10, and I can get that as one of my items on MealPal. Some other examples, I've gone to salad places, I've gotten sushi, I've gotten sandwiches, I've gotten soup. There's a lot of options. So I would say the price is definitely the biggest factor. Not only are you going to be saving a few dollars per day, for me, I would say that if I'm not really thinking about what I'm spending during lunchtime and I just go kind of and just get what I want, then I'm easily spending over $10 per lunch. And so MealPal has been a great way to not have to worry about what I'm spending on lunch while still saving money. And it's also really great just for me as someone who likes to really budget what I'm spending during the month. It's good to be able to just know this is the exact amount I'm going to be spending on these lunches. I don't have to account for any type of fluctuation that might happen during the month just because I don't know exactly where I'm going to be eating and that type of thing. So the price is definitely the number one thing. Now, of course, it's not going to be as cheap as going and making a sandwich that you bring from home. Yes, I mean, it's not going to be as cheap as that. But if you're someone who's already in the habit of going out to eat every day or most days for lunch, then this is really a great alternative that still allows you to do that without totally changing your behavior. So that's number one pro in my opinion. I would say the second major benefit of MealPal is that you get to skip the line in the restaurants that you're going to. I've been in situations where there's been lines all the way to the door, and I'm still able to get in and get out in less than a minute. And the process is super easy. You just go up to the counter, you say your name, say you're there with MealPal, and basically they'll just give you the lunch and you're on your way. So that's, I would say, the second biggest option, or the second biggest benefit that I think is really unique to MealPal. And finally, I would say the third benefit that I've been seeing from MealPal is that it has kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone a little bit, and kind of exposed me to new restaurants that I may not have otherwise gone to. It's definitely given me a better sense of what's around me, where I work, and given me some more ideas of where I can go to lunch other than just kind of my tried and true places that I tend to go to all the time. So that's I would say the three biggest benefits that I personally experienced with MealPal. Now on to the negatives. So I would say the first thing you have to keep in mind is you do have to use all of the meals in 1 month. I believe that they may be introducing a flex option that you can roll over the meals. However, that comes at a price. It's not going to be quite as discounted per meal. So you have to really make sure that the number of lunches that you choose to get really fits with what you're actually going to commit to do. I chose the 12 meals just because I knew that there'd be days that I wouldn't want to be eating MealPal, or I would be traveling for work, or any number of things. So I wanted to commit to a number that I know I'd be able to do. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. The second con is, while there is a decent amount of selection, you're still limited. You can't go anywhere, and a lot of the places that I used to go to, once or twice a week, I've pretty much cut out because I'm just going to MealPal places. So mostly that's going to be the bigger chains in a lot of cases. So like I used to go to Chipotle all the time, and I still do kind of when my MealPal runs out. But those bigger chains, it's probably less likely that MealPal is going to be able to negotiate discounted prices with them. So a lot of the restaurants that you're going to see on MealPal are going to be either the somewhat smaller chains, like Protein Bar and Freshie and things like that, or just kind of more mom and pop types of places. Either way, I think there's a variety, but you're still going to be limited, and chances are some of the places that you're used to going to are not going to be on there. I think really the key thing to keep in mind is before you sign up for MealPal, definitely go on their website and try to see what selections are actually going to be available for you, because there may be 200 restaurants in your city, but if you're on way the outskirts, or you're right on the periphery of the area where there's MealPal available, then there may only be like 1 or 2 places within a few blocks of you. So definitely look at the map and think about, okay, how many places am I actually going to be able to go to? Also, that kind of makes me think of one other pro that I forgot to mention, is that unlike ClassPass and some other type of these types of membership types of services, is that there's no limit to the amount of times that you can go to any particular restaurant. So ClassPass, for example, limits you to 3 classes at the same studio per month. MealPal does not have that. You can go to the same restaurant every single day if that's what you wanted to do. So definitely something to keep in mind. However, going back to the negatives, one other negative that I found is that a lot of restaurants tend to just like repeat the same items. So I found that a lot of restaurants seem to be doing a routine where they have one item every Monday, a different item every Tuesday, a different item every Wednesday. And it's kind of like, if you're someone who wants to regularly go to those places, there may not be enough variety over the course of a month that you're going to be excited about going there. For me, I've only been using MealPal for a little over a month, so I haven't gotten, really tired of the options at this point. However, I definitely am starting to see those repeats come in when I'm checking out the lunches for the next day. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, that if you want a lot of variety and you don't want to feel like you're limited to those certain menu choices, then MealPal may not be right for you. Also, it's important to keep in mind that each restaurant that's on MealPal only has one available option for the day. So you can't choose at all. It's like if you want to go get just salad, there is one option and that's what you're stuck with if that's where you want to go. However, you definitely can go to a different restaurant, but you are going to be limited in the variety. That kind of leads me to my next negative, is that you cannot customize your menu choices at all. So if you're someone who has if you're a very picky eater, if you have food allergies or something like that, MealPal is pretty good about letting you filter out different options if you want to do vegetarian or vegan or without certain ingredients. However, you can't change the menu items at all. So for example, I really don't like spicy food at all. And I made the mistake of choosing something with a spicy sauce that normally I would ask to have like on the side or something, but you can't make any sort of requests like that. If you're allergic to peanuts and something has peanuts on it, you can't ask them to take it out or swap it out for something else. So that's definitely something to keep in mind, especially if you're someone that's really selective about what you like to eat, or you have specific dietary restrictions that may make it more difficult for you to find the meals that you want on MealPal. And then the final negative that I would say is that it is somewhat restrictive in terms of the time that you can pick up the meals. So after 9:30 a.m., you cannot change the time that you're going to get the meal. I don't think that you can cancel it, but I would have to double check that. But overall, you cannot change the time that you're getting the meal. So if you're someone that has a really hectic schedule where it's, pretty plausible that, at 10 a.m. you could get some meeting pop up at noon and, your meal's already planned for noon, then you may be out of luck because according to MealPal's guidelines, if you're late for your 15-minute window, the restaurant reserves the right to, get rid of your meal. Now, I kind of find it hard to believe that like a minute after they would throw your meal away. I'm guessing that they probably do keep it for a while longer, but keep that in mind, that if you're someone who doesn't want to be on a strict 15-minute lunchtime for picking up your lunch, then MealPal may not give you the flexibility that you need. So overall, those are my thoughts. I've been happy with it. However, those negatives, especially about the variety and kind of the repeat menu options, make me wonder if I'm going to be with MealPal long term. I definitely think for the next few months, I'll definitely stick with it, but we'll see kind of how it goes, how the menus change, what kind of new restaurants they add. It'll definitely be interesting to see what happens in the future with MealPal. Ultimately, I would say if you're someone who likes to go out to eat on a regular basis for lunch, also you work or you live in a very, in sort of a city center area in one of the cities with MealPal, then it could be a really great fit for you, because most likely you're going to have a lot of options and you're going to be able to save money without totally changing your lunchtime behavior, without having to pack a lunch every day. You can still go out to eat. However, you are going to lose some of the flexibility and choice that you would get just going wherever you wanted. So yeah, that's it. If you have any questions about my experience about MealPal or anything else, then definitely let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe. And that's it. See you later. Bye.